What does this PlayStation controller have to do with Microsoft? I'm going to tell you all about it. Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. Thank you for joining us today. And today we've got a great video which will cover some things that you might not have thought about when you're thinking about your PlayStation 4 controller and what you're thinking about when you think about your PlayStation 5 controller. These controllers have a number of key differences. The biggest difference, in my opinion, is the haptic feedback in this controller. Now, as you know, this DualShock 4 controller works on your PlayStation 4 gaming system. It has little motors inside here that vibrate to give you some sort of feedback while you're playing the game that makes it a little bit more immersive. This controller has an upgraded feedback system known as haptic feedback. Now, some people have keenly noticed that inside this controller, it simply has two little motors again, which has led to some people saying that there's no real difference between these controllers. Now, first of all, I want to put that myth to rest. There's a massive difference in the gameplay feel using a PlayStation 5 controller on a PlayStation 5 game versus using the PlayStation 4 controller on the same game on PlayStation 4. Now, how exactly does Sony use two motors to make a different experience? I don't really know, and I don't really care. However, I do want to speak to those people who say that the haptic feedback is nothing different, just a different name. It's actually very different, and there's one really good reason why it's different. And we're gonna cover that. Before we get too far into this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. If you've seen some of our content already and have not subscribed, we want you to join our community. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's get back to the video. To understand the differences here, we actually have to go way back to 2003. In 2003, a company by the name of Immersion Technologies sued Microsoft and Sony for using vibration feedback in their controllers. Immersion Technologies claimed that they owned a patent that said if we put rumbling motors into a controller, it would increase the realism and immersion in a gaming system. Now, this happens all the time. People invent patents that they never intend to bring to market simply because it looks like the market is trending that direction. And is this one of those companies that did that? I don't know, but Immersion Technologies did not have any products on the market in 2003, but two companies did. Microsoft and Sony both had controllers that included rumble technology, which was close enough to the patent design by Immersion Technologies that they were able to sue them in court. Now, obviously, Microsoft and Sony were like, what? What the heck? Who are you? So then they said, whatever, we'll fight you. And they did. They fought. Microsoft realized that they were kind of on the losing end of this whole deal. And so they actually settled out of court. And what they settled for was $26 million that they paid to Immersion for the licensing fee, but also they bought stake in the company, which makes them a shareholder. Because they are a shareholder, now they have the ability to borrow that technology for future consoles, future controllers, future gaming without risk of getting sued. Now, Sony thought that they still were in the right here. They were going to win this lawsuit. So eventually Sony developed the PlayStation 3 controller, which initially actually took out the rumble feature. Instead, they put the 6-axis control so that you could do tilt control of your games. And they said that they had to remove the rumble because it messed with the tilt technology to make it unstable. So they had no choice but to get rid of it. They did later include it, but that wasn't until after they settled the lawsuit with Immersion Technologies. Now keep in mind, Microsoft has already settled the lawsuit and they now own part of that company. Sony is ordered to pay $82 million in damages because they sold that many more controllers. They had that much bigger impact on the market. $82 million to a company that filed a patent and parked it, which is quite ludicrous. But the story gets better. You see, at some point, Sony realized we actually do need to put this rumble technology into the controllers because people still like that. So they put it into the PlayStation 3 controllers, and as you know, they also put it in the PlayStation 4 controllers. Now this is where Microsoft comes in. Because Microsoft owns part of Immersion Technologies, any benefit that Immersion Technologies gets in a financial sense also benefits Microsoft. So for every single PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 controller sold, Sony has to pay a license fee to Immersion Technologies, which trickles down to Microsoft. So every time a PlayStation controller is sold, Microsoft gets money. And that sucks. So what does Sony do? Enter the DualSense controller with its brand new haptic feedback. Yes, this is no longer just vibration. This is no longer just rumble. This is full-on immersive vibrations and rumbles. And because they're immersive, and because they're not just a rumble feature that turns on, it's a smart rumble. And anyone who knows patent law knows that to avoid patent infringement, you need to have 3 differences from the patent to what you have. And so Sony was able to develop a vibration system that at least has 3 points different with their DualSense controller. Now, whether this makes the game better or worse, or the controller better or worse, is totally irrelevant. The only reason that Sony changed the vibration in this controller was because they wanted to stop paying Microsoft money. That's all this was about. This is not about better. This is about different. So by changing that, they no longer have to pay any fees to Microsoft or Immersion Technologies anymore. All of the old PlayStation 4 controllers obviously still would have that license fee paid for every controller sold and made. However, from now on, there's a new game in town, and that is this new haptic feedback, which does not fit under the jurisdiction of the lawsuit that Sony had to pay many, many, many years ago. Now, as for does this work? Is it any good? Personally, I think that people who experience haptic feedback on a PlayStation 5, coupled with the variable rate triggers on experiential games, cannot be beat. It is a one-of-a-kind experience that if you have not experienced it before, it makes a huge difference. And I'm surprised that so many people are jumping on the hater bandwagon. My suspicion is the people jumping on that hater bandwagon have never used a PlayStation 5 controller on a PlayStation 5 game. And my advice to those people is don't use it. Do not go to your friend's house. Do not try it out. Do not see what this is all about, because you will turn into a Sony fanboy. I'm sorry, it's that good. Once you realize what you're missing out on, you will be calling your favorite Microsoft representative saying, hey, have you heard about this haptic feedback? You guys need to get on this. In fact, Microsoft was so worried about it that they sent out a survey to Xbox owners and said, hey, would you like haptic feedback? Would you like adaptive triggers? They did this whole survey to see if anybody would support having that, because they're scared. They realize that that is so good. And don't try it. I promise you, if you are happy with your Xbox, with your old vibration rumble controllers, with triggers that don't adapt, just stick with what you know. It's better that way, because that'll free up the PlayStation for people who actually want it, rather than people who got converted to that. I wanted to explain that because I hear it time and time again. I see it in the comments of my videos. When I'm live streaming, people talk about it. It's just, I want to put this to rest. So hopefully you guys understand better now what this is all about. It's strictly about money and avoiding penalties, even though it did end up being quite good. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.